This is a book. It has a title, an author, a publisher, a cover, a description, and a barcode. This code is an international standard book number. These 13-digit numbers uniquely identify nearly every commercial book in the world. So getting all this metadata, without having to manually enter anything, just from the ISBN should be easy, right? Let's first look at what the code itself can tell us. ISBNs are specialized versions of EN13, the same specification that allows all store-sold produce in the world to be uniquely identified. Frozen pizza, bags of chips, and also books. The first 3 characters of an EN13 tell us the country the code was registered in. Books, however, have a unique country code. 978 for Bookland, a namespace reserved for all books in the world. Once we see this code at the beginning, we can assume that we have to read the EN13 with the ISBN specification in mind. The next 1 to 5 numbers designate the language of the work. In this example, the 3 designates a German book. A varying amount of numbers after that represent a publisher. In this case, the publisher, Ultraverse, has the publisher number 7539. All remaining numbers, except the last one, represent the volume number. The publisher is free in designating this one. The last digit is a checksum, which is calculated using the previous 12. So just by looking at a barcode, what have we learned about a book? It's German and published by Ultraverse. That's not much, and it's not even close to all the metadata we'd like to gain. But it's easy. Since it's a system used by nearly the whole world, we can just look into the free, open source, universal database, which all the publishers maintain with their own releases to allow the public to easily look them up and have a single source of truth. This approach only comes with one small issue. No such database exists. Nowhere. Okay, if we can't get the metadata directly, we'll have to collect it ourselves. So let's look at our options in no particular order. National registries. In most countries, there exist databases in which publishers can voluntarily enter their data to make it easier for vendors to know which books they can order. One such example is the German VLB, but they are often very hard and pricey to get access to. And since it's nearly exclusively voluntary, older or more obscure titles, which are not sold anymore, may not be found in these databases. The Google Books API. This Google database will have at least some information about a given ISBN. It might be far from accurate, but it is often the only place that knows even the most obscure of books. Libraries. While the total amount of books is often very limited, the details themselves are usually very curated and accurate. They can be a valuable source for older and/or specialized works. Shout out to archive.org here, they are a goldmine for old titles. Bookstores. While we cannot get direct access to the databases they maintain, we can use their storefronts to get this information. However, these bookstores and even the bigger chains often only maintain the databases for books they actively sell, meaning that you are often out of luck for books published in different countries. But there is a savior. Amazon. You might have heard of them. Before Amazon expanded to be the behemoth they are nowadays, they did start out as an online bookstore, and to this day may still be the most reliable source of any books that have been published in the last decade. The store entries are often maintained by the publishers themselves, and are even kept years after the last book has been printed, due to it still being available from third-party Amazon sellers. Thanks to the global scale of Amazon, it is also not limited to certain regions. And also, due to the large market share that Amazon possesses, the publishers are quite close to being forced to sell on Amazon to prevent a loss in sales. Whether this is problematic is a topic for another channel. But for us, who want to extract metadata from it, it is a gift. An honorary mention also goes out to the various commercial solutions, which aggregate all this data for us as a service. Just remember that these are not curated and just as good or bad as their sources. Let's say we have found metadata in 3 different sources. Now we are confronted with a new issue, inconsistency. It begins with the capitalization of titles, continues with the way names are written and formatted, and ends with differing cover images. We somehow need to decide on one singular version for each attribute. But remember, we want to do this automated, so manual selection is out of the picture. Because of that, we have to fall back to heuristics. Heuristics in this case being experience values instead of an optimized and proven approach. The correct choice in a given case may just boil down to personal preference. We might find that a certain source always has the best titles, so we always take their version. or always prefer the version that the majority provide. We may also decide to just pick one randomly. For the names, we might prefer to take one we already have in our database, but that could also result in false positives. We can analyze our cover images and compare them to common placeholders, either using static images or even text recognition. And all of this will still leave a million edge cases open, which we'll have to either accept or patch into our system later on. And the more sources you use at once, the harder it gets. And after all the effort we put into it, all the data collection and evaluation, all the edge cases we have handled, what are we left with? Metadata, which, under the right conditions, might be somewhat accurate sometimes.